Hello, welcome to the season 3 of the Pianoforte Podcast. I'm your co-host Felicia, and this is my co-host Audrey. Hi, Audrey.
Hello. Welcome back. And
it's been a while.
It's been a long while. So, yeah, I guess we announced last time on the last episode of season 2 that we are taking a break. We did take a break.
A very nice and long break.
A long ass break.
But it was nice. Was it not nice for you?
It's just like a lot happened, right? During the break, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It was quite, some parts of it were nice, some parts of it were
stressful?
Chaos.
Okay.
Chaotic. But chaotic is kind of my middle name.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, chaotic is, or like chaos is my middle name. So I guess I'm used to it. I guess. I hope. I think. Yeah.
So in today's episode, we are going to review whatever we remember of our New Year's resolution, which frankly I do not remember almost everything.
I mean, I remember some of the parts that I said during our first episode last season, from the last season, like the New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I don't think I fulfill any of those so far.
But are they still standing? Like, are you still planning to move in the direction that you had kind of established through the New Year's resolution?
I feel like right now I feel more open. Like I don't feel an exact New Year's resolution. You know what I mean? Kind of like whatever will be, will be.
Que sera, sera.
Yeah, smart. And I'm kind of fine with that. There's just because like there's so much happened the past year, the past half year, that I felt like pushing my New Year's resolution, what I thought that I wanted to do in the beginning of the year, could be slightly not healthy for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. You don't remember what your resolutions were?
I don't quite remember because I think I was like, I knew I was going to have quite a big change in my schedule and my just my schedule in general. So
oh yeah,
I think I didn't really set out to, I purposefully didn't really set out to make a very solid resolution as a result, because I'm much more of a let's just go with the flow and see what happens kind of person.
I mean, I was also like that, right? But I was like, yeah, but I'm not like, I've never been like, oh, I have this resolution and I want to do it so bad. I mean, I want to do it, but it's not like urgent matters.
Yeah. And I think for me, the only resolution I remember setting and talking about was the possibility of doing an exam, which I have changed my mind on.
You're not taking any exam?
No, I'm not because I think back then okay, so at the beginning of the year I had only one lesson I was attending, and that was a composition class, right? And right now I have 2 classes. The other class is a piano pedagogy class. And
yes, we talk about this not on the podcast, on private.
Yeah, but I mentioned to you the last time around that we chatted. And before I decided on doing the piano pedagogy class, I was honestly waffling between should I go for more piano lessons myself or should I look for a piano pedagogy class. And then I settled on the latter. And then after that, I was like, well, I think if I try to do a music exam, like performance-wise, like more on playing, that would be piling a bit too much on my plate, because I think I do want to focus more on teaching better.
That's cute. That's cute. That is honestly cute.
Is it?
Yeah, because I don't know, like when you graduated and moved away from Germany, when you went back to Singapore and I visited you, when was it? Like 2 years ago? Before COVID.
Yeah.
Definitely long before
Definitely
COVID.
before.
3 years ago then.
It was like the September before COVID. Kind of, 2019.
Yeah.
August, September, around there.
August, September 2019. By now, by the time we upload this video, it's almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost exactly. Almost to the T. And I remember we were talking and you were like, I'm not quite sure about teaching.
Yeah,
I just remember that sentence coming from you and I was like, yeah, but I mean, teaching is kind of one of the not easiest. I wouldn't say easy. Like it's not
one of the
easy
most
to teach.
obvious though. It is one,
But it is one of the one field that is like very easy to find. It's not easy to teach, but it's easy to find teaching jobs, especially in Asia as a piano teacher.
Yeah.
So like the field itself has abundance of like spots, like people who are looking for.
I mean,
the market is abundance, like in Asia at least.
Is it not so much in Europe? In Germany at least?
Nowadays, I do see that as well. I mean, in Europe, and particularly in Freiburg, where I still live, it's I kind of sometimes see like a ups and downs of the interests.
Okay.
Which is quite not funny, but like quite interesting to see. That you do notice some instruments are quite in favor and sometimes, and you know they have their own like hype time kind of.
Is there a reason, like is it a cyclical, like every year it happens around the same time kind of thing?
No, not particularly, but I noticed last year, early off last year, like early off, I mean, sorry, my year orientation is school year orientation.
So it starts in the middle of the year for you?
Yeah. So
okay.
Last school year, like the beginning of last school year.
So it means
it
last
was,
September, around there?
Yeah, around September.
Okay.
It was more scarce, I would say, rather than now.
Okay.
Right now, I have a lot of new, like, interests, like a lot of new students looking for piano teachers and stuff like that. Yeah, but maybe it's kind of also depends on where you work and like which schools you work at and how the school flow is. So yeah, but I do notice in some certain times there would be some period of time that it's just a little bit more quiet.
Right.
The Q word.
Yeah. I'm also just generally quite curious because we've mentioned before that the school year kind of thing for music school in Germany and in Singapore are quite different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you guys do not teach during the whole summer break.
No, we don't. I'm on full vacation right now.
Lucky.
By full vacation, I mean I'm not teaching. But I do still have some stuff to do, gigs and stuff. Yeah, but it's not much right now. So I can finally take a breather after a long as I mean, during the break of the podcast, actually, I was not having breaks. The reason why we took breaks from the podcast was because hell broke loose.
Before you, do you want to elaborate or do you want to just keep that like private under the wraps?
So remember how I in like some parts of the previous seasons, I keep mentioning like, oh yeah, I might move, or like I'm looking for my to apply for a master's degree.
Yeah.
I did try to apply, but every time I try to apply, there's something just like preventing me to apply. For one case, I got COVID.
Oh yeah.
And then the other case, it's just like I got lost in the building for like 700 times. And I was just way too nervous to do the exam.
But for that one, you already applied, right? It's just like during the audition process. Or
I mean,
before
for
the
all of
audition
them,
process.
for all of them, I was applying, and it's like the process itself.
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah, it's just like I think hell broke loose. Just be like, Audrey, you're not moving from Freiburg. That is one part that is like from my New Year's resolution that I was like, oh yeah, I might want to try to do masters, but now that it failed, I'm not sad about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling okay about it.
That's a good thing, right?
My schedule also changed. Will change after this like school year. I did mention that I want to do more songwriting or publish more song, which I did eventually privately publicize one of my song.
Yeah.
It was on a like family only thing. So I shared it with my family, like, and friends. So it's not like super publicized, but yeah, I mean, I'm
You're on the
working
track for that
towards-
part.
I'm working towards that still, but I'm also not. See, again, like sometimes I don't feel too bad to not share it with the world. Maybe at some point, but not now.
Yeah.
Taking my time, my sweet time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot also happened for you that obviously we didn't mention all in the podcast. And how do you think like what is your take now that 2022 is already over halfway through?
I'm quite happy with what I have right now. So at the start of the year, I was working in music school, which we mentioned in the previous episodes, previous seasons. And earlier this year, I stopped working at the music school. I'm still teaching, but privately. So there is that. And yeah, I mean,
And you take your new course. Obviously, that is the most awesome thing I've ever heard.
Wait, sorry, what? I missed
You
that
took
part.
your new course, like the pedagogy.
Yes, piano pedagogy. Yes. So that is something that I have been thinking about, but I wasn't very sure if I was going to do it. So I guess I might have ticked an invisible box in my New Year's resolution. If let's just pretend it works that way.
We can totally pretend it works that way. I don't mind about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I mean,
So
do you think that the next few
Half the
months
year?
of 2020, it's less than half a year though.
Yeah.
It's like 5 months.
yeah.
Do you think the next 5 months would throw you more curveballs though?
I
would
don't
it be
think
like a
so.
Kind of a calmer sail?
I feel like it's going to be quite like how it is right now.
Okay.
The only thing new for teaching would just be rescheduling here and there. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
don't
because-
have so many students that I will run into trouble with scheduling. So that is one thing I do like, is that I get to call the shots as to how many students I have.
Right, because in your previous school you didn't.
No, it was pretty much almost impossible to be like, I want to have not more than this number of students.
Yeah, and also because you were kind of like a full-time
Yeah, I was full time,
employee-ish.
so it's like there's no reason for me to
Yeah,
say
they
that.
will just like fill up as much as they can to fill up
Yeah.
your full-time. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're already there anyway, like, right?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so I pretty much is just going to be how it is right now. The only thing I'm spending a bit more time on is recently, it's like the last 2 weeks or so, it's creating more worksheets.
I went through that phase during lockdown.
I remember you mentioned that before, and then you stopped mentioning that ever again.
Because right now at some point I just reuse my worksheets, and I have a lot of like student change and whatnot that those students have never seen my worksheets before. Like,
so you never needed to create more worksheets.
Yeah. I do have some new like tricks and whatnot implemented to my teaching, and or like equipments if a post-it counts as equipment. But so, like a little quite like gamey vibe, so I try to put more games into my teaching and not so much just teaching. My how do you call it, like not sociography, like the percentage of students, like the age have significantly changed. I do have a lot more children now, students like younger age, between 6 and I would say 10, 11.
That's a very fun age to teach, actually.
That's a very talkative part. Because once they start their like puberty and stuff, they'd be like, I want to be cool.
And then they stop talking.
Kind of. And then they but I still enjoy teaching like late teenagers, like 16, 17, 18, 19. They're fun because, I mean, they're I don't want to admit this, but I do scroll on social media
to look for them
often.
You mean you try to look for your students on social media?
No.
Okay.
Oh no. Hell nah.
Okay, just checking.
No, but my reference for memes and stuff has quite grown exponentially. So
yes, so I've noticed you've gotten very into memes.
Yeah. So that's how I connect with my teenager students. Try to make the lessons a bit more hip, so that they, even though I know I fail a couple times, hard fail.
It's fine. It's trial and error after all.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy teaching a lot these days.
That's good.
I have always liked teaching, but nowadays it really it feels fun. It feels really fun, that's why I'm not very disappointed that I don't get the masters, because if I did, then I had to move, and I will, I was just starting to feel, because before, I don't know, I like it, but I think I didn't have the same approach as right now.
Approach as in what way?
I mean, like the game thing and whatnot. I don't know. Nowadays, it just feels a bit more relaxed, but I think I figured my teaching style a little bit more, because when I was preparing for my master's, I was reading my pedagogy notes and whatnot to prepare myself. And then I noticed, I actually already do a lot of the stuff that were preached to me. As in, you can use this method, you can use this style or whatnot. But then I kind of become even more aware in some certain cases. Like, why would a student withdraw from a lesson? Like, why would they quit or whatever? And how do you do, how do you set a lesson? Is it breaking a big matter, a big material down into things, or is it building blocks? Because there's that way as well, right? Like you can
Yeah.
start with the smaller things and then make the thing make sense, or like see the big picture first and then spreading it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like give and take, I would say, in that situation. That's probably why I feel like more fun now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you also have that kind of thing with your pedagogy class?
But not so much yet. As in, I think that with the piano pedagogy, it's really more centered towards piano and what is important in teaching piano. So it's not so much of like general, like
Oh yeah.
teaching style in a way. That's how I feel right now. But again, I only had 2 lessons, so
Oh okay.
At the
So
time-
it's a new
by the
thing.
time we are recording this, I have had 2 lessons.
By the time we're recording this, by the time we're uploading this, is like
A few more lessons. I'm not counting that because
okay.
What's my
It's
calendar?
fine.
It's far away. Yeah. I mean, but for me, in terms of like teaching from like when I was in the music school and now, I think I feel more free to introduce materials that are outside the lesson books I use.
Oh, that is a good thing that
Like, I was already doing that in the school, but it's a bit like, I always felt a bit weird about it because like when let's say I have around 40 students, and if I only give extra materials to like 10 students, I'll feel like, well, should I be trying to do a bit more for the other 30 students? And things like that.
yeah, I mean teaching
It's
with
a
like
bit really in my head, but yeah.
teaching private definitely gives you a little bit more wiggle room in how you want to base
How I want to
each student,
introduce
I think.
materials as well.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it also comes to how you pace your students, right? Like
Yeah.
if you want to actually introduce extra stuff, that means you want to change the pace. You want to kind of like push a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, I don't have that struggle. I am even though that I teach in music schools here, they're basically be like, you do you, whatever you want to do, whatever the students want to do. Some students
Yeah.
just come to me for like songwriting-ish things, you know,
Yeah.
or like something like that. So it's very, I would say not versatile, but like, yeah, it's very free flowing rather.
Yeah, then like I mentioned, the newest thing I'm doing is writing worksheets. But a bunch of them are like on the easy things, which is like no identification.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
have
and then-
collected tons of sorts of different worksheets.
Yeah, and the thing is that because the thing is my students, they almost all of them have a theory book, so there's already some structure in there, but it's just in some areas that
That
they
you
need
probably
extra
notice.
practice.
Yeah, they need extra oomph.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, and
That's fun. Not a lot of my students have theory books. It's not that common here actually to do theory.
yeah.
Maybe also because of the duration of the lesson.
How I mean, again, how long are most of your lessons?
Most of my lessons are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not,
not.
That's definitely not enough to do theory, and obviously they are more practical oriented. I mean,
Yeah.
I would try to introduce like related theory things. You know, like I mean, obviously dynamics and like articulations and those stuff are very like
They're very central.
they're very practice oriented as well, because you use it directly when you play.
Yeah.
But I try to also like tell them the terms and not just like, oh, you play short here, it's the staccato. Like I would be like, it's called staccato. It's not just chords, it's staccato.
Right. Like the term, like the
Yeah, the
names of the
terms.
terms in a way. Yeah.
The Italian terms.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah. Talking about Italian terms, I don't know how much I've introduced to my students, but I think I've just covered the basic ones.
What are the basic ones for you? Like legato,
Depending on
staccato.
age as well. I mean, usually I start with the articulations and dynamics.
Okay.
The Italian terms, right? We're talking about Italian terms specifically.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on some like teenagers and adults, then also like speed, related to speed, like ritardando,
Accelerando.
yeah, rallentando,
tempo.
andante, lento,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. Or like acciaccatura, poggiatura, turn, mod, even though turn is in English,
I mean, yeah.
and like mordant and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So like grace notes basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I try to also like introduce them to the Italian words, but also like even for myself, then I try to learn the German terms for those, because a lot of the German terms I'm still not very familiar with.
Yeah.
Not a lot actually.
But
now after 5 years.
what are some examples of the German terms?
Like Vorschlag is like the grace notes. It's called
Okay.
Vorschlag.
Right, yeah.
Which Vorschlag, also in German, could also be translated as a recommendation. Vorschlag,
Is what, sorry?
like recommendations or like.
Oh. Yeah, that's true.
But that's German. That's just plain German. You can use one word for like 700 different things. I blame the language.
Yeah.
Are you planning? Oh, so okay. Now that we're talking about the previous years, we're talking a lot about teaching, eh?
Yeah, we are.
This topic has went from
General
life
review
update to like
something.
but it's okay, it's good, it's fine, it's a music related podcast.
And yeah.
We're still inbound.
Yeah.
Do you have any like mid-year resolution or like mid-year plans?
I do, but it's also teaching related.
I mean,
Are you surprised?
are we even surprised at this point? Don't we both know our activities basically is like, I don't know, are you 100% teaching?
Am I what?
Are you 100% teaching? You don't have any other side hustles?
Yeah, I'm just 100% teaching.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have been 100% teaching from like the start.
You have. Yeah.
Yeah. But even now, yes, 100% teaching. And one of the thing is I am trying to figure out a better way to teach key signatures and minor scale. Major
we have
scale.
discussed this a couple times.
Like melodic, harmonic, minor scales, right? And I want to have a more systematic approach that is more like a broken down kind of thing. Yeah, because there is the approach in the book which is much more like by formula. They just tell you like this is how it is, and then now you apply it, and then now you do the next step and the next step and the next step. But I can see very clearly for some students it doesn't stick very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some students take to it like fantastically. But I have some students that it just doesn't stick, like the formula approach doesn't work for them. So I want to try to explore a different way of teaching. So I want to kind of work through that key signature, major, minor scale. And then for the note reading part, because now I have worksheets, but I don't give all the students the same worksheet in the same week. So what happens sometimes I think is that I'm getting a bit confused as to who I gave what worksheet to. So I need to be more organized in that. But I also want to formulate a clearer plan as to after this worksheet, give this one, give this one, give this one, give this one.
Oh yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
thing. So it's just easier for me to keep track.
That's good. That's actually good. That's like
That is-
teaching planning, like right?
Yeah,
Like
that is
lesson
what
planning.
I
Like-
want to get by the end of the year.
Actually, like lesson planning on its own is like a full-time job.
Yeah,
I
it takes a while.
I feel like
it takes
it's-
time.
Like at least 40% of your teaching time is on the planning
Yeah, yeah.
and preparing. I mean, preparing is planning anyway.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good resolution. But I just suddenly I want to touch a little bit about the key signature stuff because you actually
Yeah.
already mentioned this to me in private.
Mhm.
I do always introduce the Vorzeichen, the
Accidentals. Yeah.
the sharps and the flats and the
Yes.
naturals, Auflösungszeichen.
Yeah.
And then, if you notice, it's on the circle of fifth, like with
Yeah.
the sharps, it starts on the fifth, this, gis, this,
Yeah.
ice.
And then
It's like in that motion.
yes.
So I
Like,
try
dee,
to
dee,
with
dee,
my
dee.
students, my younger students, we just play
Mhm.
like this and they say, dee, 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 dee.
Oh.
Then go back to dee, 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 dee. And then they learn the
The sound.
not only the sound, but they learn the Reihenfolge. Festes, gistes, Eis. And then B flat, S, As, Des, Ges. That motion.
Right. Oh, you do that on the black keys directly.
Yeah.
I'm studying that.
You're welcome to everybody listening to this podcast. To
Thank
all
you very
piano
much.
teachers out there. Let's help each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just teach them in that because I feel like when they just learn the theory, it just will not stick. They have to actually touch the keys and be like aware
And
of
they need to hear the sound as well. Yeah, actually the thing is like how I memorized the Reihenfolge of the sharps and the flats, right? Is by singing it in my head.
Oh really?
Like fa do so re la mi for the treble clef, and then for the left hand it's like di mi la re so do fa. Not in tune. I don't have perfect pitch, so
Yeah.
you're thinking very hard right now. What's in
Yeah.
mind?
It's just like, yeah, okay, yeah. I kind of get it. I don't do that. I did actually back then just learn it like
Circle of fifths. Memorize
no.
hardly.
No, I learned it like fistis gis this ice, just like directly.
Oh no, I just sang it. So it's not a thing I can teach my students to do because it's not very logical. I can't teach it in a very logical way.
Yeah, mine is also not logical though. I just learn it like memorize it, plainly memorize it. But in my defense, back then, I hated theory. I used to hate theory. We took AVRSM, right?
Yeah.
And the requirements for AVRSM in particular is that if you want to take the practical exam from grade
For
5
grade
to 8, you have to at least have grade 5 theory exam.
To do grade 6,
To do
practical,
grade
you need
6,
grade
you have-
5 theory.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. See, I even forgot about that. Thanks.
No, it's fine.
But to achieve grade 5, you probably would not just go jump head first to grade 5. You need to learn
Yeah.
from the, and my mom and my dad kind of were the ones who believed that like, yeah, just do it as the proper way, like one step at a time, and not skip
Yeah.
grades and whatnot.
Yeah. It's the same here.
Yeah. Oh, the same as your parents as well. That's
Pretty
cute.
much. I mean, for the practical, I don't think I took every single exam, but like in terms of the book, you just go step by step by step by step.
I think I did every single exam. Maybe also maybe because also my mom and dad probably thought at some point that she quits, at least she has a certificate of the latest one that she had. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Maybe that was the thing. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't clarified
Maybe.
to them. So yeah. Anyway, but
Yeah.
I have the collection of
Certificates.
of certificates. My brother as well, and yeah. But I remember I just did not like theory.
You didn't
from
enjoy
grade 1
theory.
until at least grade 4. I did not enjoy it, but grade 5 was actually pretty fun. Because it was more like analyzing and stuff and not just
Yeah.
like memorizing.
Yeah, grade 1, grade 4, the stuff is just like teaching you all the tools to be able to decipher and explain everything that you see in the score,
Yeah.
but not necessarily to get into the details, right?
Yeah, and it's in my case at least, it was very memorizing based. Like I need to memorize this.
I forgot how it was for me.
But that's long ago.
Mhm.
At least that felt that way for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I used to not like English, and now I like English more than any other languages. That was just so weird coming from an Indonesian.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think we have chatted quite a bit. Quite enough.
Wait. But do you have any resolution moving forward from now on to the end of the year?
Yeah, I'm trying to write more because I know that I will have some schedule change and it will work in favor of writing for me.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm
fun.
looking forward.
I think I might finally work on that idea that I've had for a long time that I want to like make a concept album thing. Because right now, if I write, it doesn't really have connections between each songs. It's just
Right.
I have an idea, I put it, record it. At least I have a decent demo of some sort. Then forget about it for the next 5 months because I'm busy teaching or get sick or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to finally act upon my wish, my actual thing. But as I said before, like I feel like I'm open to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't achieve it by this year, that's also fine. I'm kind of okay with it.
I think for me, just cutting in, on the creative side, I would actually like to sit down and properly work through and work out and write like one song by the end of the year. Because
And
it's
record
been
it or just like write it.
just write it, I guess.
Okay.
Because,
a song
like,
or a piece?
a song,
Oh, okay.
like lyrics, harmony, form.
We need to bring Lindsay back.
Yes. Yeah, no, but by the end of the year, that is the thing I'm telling myself, because I do still jot down bits and bobs of lyrics, but I never really worked through any of them. And then the other day I was flipping through, because I record everything on my phone. The other day I was flipping through, like scrolling through what I've written, and I think some of them can actually be spun off into songs. I don't know.
I just suddenly remember something. It's some like a weird, not resolution, but like a goal. Yeah, it is a resolution, isn't it? If it's a goal, it's still a resolution.
Kind of, yeah.
Is that because I kind of like to do sport.
What do you say?
I kind of like to do sport. I'm not very sporty, but I enjoy my morning either yoga or like cardio stuff. Just very light exercises. But I'm planning, I don't know, because sometimes I like certain songs and I want to work out to it, but there's no YouTuber or whatever that does it to that song.
Yeah.
I might want to do it for myself, like at least 1 or 2 songs, just for fun.
Ooh.
Yeah. which
That's
is
fun.
not music related, but it is somewhat music related.
Yeah, it is.
It's like,
There's
I
music in
want to
there.
work out to this specific song, but I need to like find a good regimen for it. So that's my other kind of
Oh,
goal.
that's a lot of fun.
which is wild. Because I used to not like working out. But now I do.
Yay.
I enjoy it. Yes.
Yay. Yeah.
So that's probably a good end because we've covered the basic parts, like the mid-year resolution. I keep wanting to say revolution again, the same as last time. Last time we had this topic,
Yes.
I struggled with the same word, with the same reasoning. It's just Hamilton is just too good, man. To the revolution. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's end the podcast with our kind of favorite
Recommendation.
segment.
Recommendations.
Yes.
Yes.
So, who starts? Or do we do rock, paper, scissors?
I can start, but let me look up the song again. I have it in my phone. Oh, I remember
I
already.
also need to look up my phone. I have been holding my phone off camera.
I remember what I wanted to recommend.
Okay.
I think I haven't said this one before. It's the Elga Cello Concerto.
No, you have not. For sure.
Good because I think a few months, 3 months back maybe, I can't remember when, I went to watch a concert and the cellist was playing Elga Cello Concerto. And after that I went home, I listened to it a bit more and started really liking it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I found out also because I have this thing where after I listen to concert, I would write down the program in a book and I'll write down whatever thoughts or observations I made during the concert, which usually doesn't have so much to do with the music as it is just people watching. And then I flipped through my book and I realized that I had actually listened to an Elgar cello concerto before. When I was in Freiburg, and I actually have no recollection of this.
Lol.
So yeah,
No.
but I made similar observations in the music. So
But I'm interested in your people watching notes. Maybe you can share it with me on private if you don't mind.
in private.
yeah. Not for public. Sorry, guys.
Actually, when I say people watching, it's usually more like the orchestra member watching.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, there's some
I
very
also do
interesting
that.
moments in
I
there.
also do that. In your defense. In our defense.
In our defense.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
also do
that's my
that.
recommendation.
Okay. My recommendation would be quite an artist that I kind of like recently. Recently, by recently means 2 months.
Okay, that is recent.
Yeah, that is quite recent, isn't it? So he is Rhys Lewis. I hope I pronounced the name right. RHYS. Rhys. Is it Rhys? Rhys.
Probably.
Yeah, probably Rhys. Anyway, so I watched a concert in June. Yeah, in June, like beginning of June. And he was not the main act. He was like the opening act of this concert, which I did not know him before, but one of his song. I was an addict for that song for a long while, and the song is called "Alone." I don't know. Yeah, it says like sometimes I wake up full of all these fears, wishing that I was anywhere but here, which is like
Oh.
it sounds sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But not looking, I oddly enough, I did listen to that when I had my audition. So I maybe behind like in my subconscious mind, I was already thinking like, I don't wish to be here doing this audition. That was not a good song to listen to before an audition, but that is a good song to listen to.
Maybe that's what it is. Who knows?
It is. It is such a beautiful song. And recently he came out with a new single as well called "Simple." I don't like it as much as "Alone," but it's also pretty good. It's good.
What style is it in? Like what musical style? Groovy?
No, singer-songwriter-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the kind of like instrumentations that was?
Particularly guitar.
Okay.
Like, Alone has a little bit more beat to it. Simple is a little bit more simple.
Is it a bit more like ballad style?
Simple is a bit more ballad style.
Okay. And
but
then
Alone is not very much. It's quite
upbeat.
Medium. Yeah.
Okay.
Medium upbeat. Right. But I love Alone. It's still on my.
It's still on your mind.
One of the top songs right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I loop it like crazy. All right, so I guess that wraps up this episode. I hope you guys have fun. And yeah, we'll be back with our normal scheduling like every 2 weeks because as much as the life is calm, the workload is not that calm.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just do the bye.
Bye.